Hi, I'm Joy Womack. I'm currently a principal dancer with the Kremlin Ballet in Moscow.
Tell me please how you got started with ballet.
I got started dancing ballet probably when I was around 3, like most American children, in a sort of mommy and me dance class setting. And then when I got a little bit older and my parents realized this is something I really enjoyed, they put me into dance classes at Westside in Santa Monica. It's a small school. Actually, it's not small, it's big. And then I studied there also while taking from other teachers around the LA area. And from there, my parents decided to move to Austin, and there was really no ballet in Austin. We found this random Russian teacher, so she changed my style completely. And from there, I got accepted to the Kirov Academy. And after being at the Kirov Academy for 2 years, I thought, I want to find something even harder, which is crazy. There we had classes for 4.5 hours a day. And then I got accepted to the Bolshoi Ballet Academy after a master class.
When did you realize that you want to get the Russian training?
I think that the thing that helped me really make the decision to become, to sort of switch from American style to Russian style was the fact that really in Austin there was no other option, and I had sort of cloistered myself in my room because I went on hunger strike because my parents moved away from LA, and I was like, why would you move from the beach? You're crazy. And I was only watching Russian dancers, and then all of a sudden there's this Russian teacher and she's showing me that it makes more sense to train that way for my body. Also precursing that, being here in Los Angeles and seeing what Yuri did, what Murat's students were like, it really made me think that that's sort of the direction I wanted to go in.
What do you think? What's the difference between Russian style and American style?
Definitely the base. And for me, it's the aesthetic line. And for me, Russian technique is so built on the basics of anatomy, and it makes sense from an aesthetic point of view. I think that it's more historically accurate, but the American style is built for the balancing technique. It's built for balancing ballets. Russian style is more sort of the base for any classical style. So if you want to be able to dance classical ballet in a beautiful way, I would suggest training in a Russian style. If you are more passionate about serenade and concerto barocco, go for the SAB style. But I don't think that they're interchangeable. I think it's very difficult for a trained balancing dancer to dance Giselle in a way that is up to the world standard.
When you went to the Russia and studied the Bolshoi, what was the biggest challenge besides the technique?
I think the number one challenge for me moving to Russia, not knowing any Russian, was certainly learning the language and then learning the way that the people interact. So I definitely had a huge culture shock because I hadn't been exposed to anybody sort of in that world beforehand, because I had been very much in an American lifestyle.
While you were training at the Russia, this intense training, what was in your mind? Were you looking back and saying, I wasted all my time? Or were you like, what's something new for me to learn?
Oh, when I started training in Russia, and even here, when I was training at the Kirov, I thought, how many years have I wasted training in the wrong way for my body? And how much more sense it makes, and how I wish I could go back in time and study in the Russian technique from age 10, instead of having to get rid of everything and learn everything from the ground up, which is basically what they did for me in Moscow. And in the Bolshoi, I mean, they're so meticulous to detail about where the bones and the sinews are that it was like my eyes had opened.
Do you find ballet really easy once you get correct training and know how the body needs to work?
I think that ballet is so much easier once you find the correct way to work and the correct anatomical way to dance, because Vaganova trains dancers. She doesn't train teachers, she doesn't train students. She gives you the tools to go and take any choreography and put it into your body and make it look organic. So I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
Did you ever thought about quitting and not doing it?
Oh my gosh. I think there are several times in your career when you decide, oh, I think this is not worth it and I don't want to do it anymore. recently I've had 2 of those episodes, and it's kind of interesting. When you go through a period of change, it's almost like you have to go through a recommitment phase. It's almost like you're redoing your vows to ballet. I think that one of the hardest times for a dancer is the transition between a student to a professional dancer.
What does it take to become a ballerina?
I think there's a lot that goes into the word ballerina. Ballerina is not just somebody who puts their pointe shoes on, who gets on pointe, who is in the corps ballet of a company, a soloist. A ballerina is a woman who carries the company, who carries the repertoire. It's extreme amounts of responsibility. And there is so much dedication that goes into being a ballerina, because a ballerina is oftentimes a mother, a wife, a regular person, a woman who has taste, who has ideas, but is also a machine and has to be so dependable and so consistent and able to produce a communication, be able to give an emotional state to an audience. So it's almost like you make a transition into becoming something otherworldly. And in order to do that, I believe you have to sacrifice something. You cannot reach that state without sacrificing a part of you.
Do you find ballerinas kind of insane?
I think the word insane we associate with taboo. I think that ballerinas, we are not insane, but we are... What is the definition of insanity? It is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So we are that, but in a way that is not socially destructive. We are masochists, and we look for the hard way, I find.
During the process of this hard work, do you see the future that you would be working for the rest of your life, or do you think in some point you will stop and not do that anymore and do something else?
I think for me, my road, my life is painted in the brightest color of ballet, and this is my life, this is what I'm doing, and I'm very committed to it. I don't see it as just my job that I punch my time in. It is my lifestyle, it is what I'm about, and after I finish my dancing career, I would hope to continue and to help ballet evolve in a sense of, I'd love to be able to give back to the community, because I do think that ballet is very thankless. And it's very hard to throw your whole life at something and get nothing in return. So I'd love to be somehow involved in making ballet more financially feasible for the dancers.